Good morning, this is Miss Myrick, and today we're going to draw a cylinder. So you can start with a lid or a cup in your house. You'll need a pencil and a ruler. So what I'm going to do, make sure you have the inches up. So I'm just going to do an inch wide. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to make mine 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to put 2 dots. And then I'm going to draw a line down to, I'm going to make my cylinder 3 inches by 2 inches. So where I put the dots, I'm going to draw a straight line. I'm using my ruler down to the 3-inch mark. Now I should have 2 parallel lines. Then I'm going to use this lid and I'm going to draw a curve and I'm going to leave it light right here. And I need a parallel curve because it's going to be like a soup or Coca-Cola can down at the bottom. So my curve should match. Now I'm going to round these edges out, but in the beginning, it's going to look like my corners are pointed. So what you want to do is end up with an oval. So right here, I'm just going to start rounding the edge, because you don't want pointed corners. If it's easier for you to just sketch the oval, then go ahead and do that. Okay. So my light source, I'm always going to have my light source from here. You can change direction. If it's easier for you to come from the right side, that's perfectly fine. So because the light is going to be shining right on top of this, it's going to be the lightest. And you can shade this whole thing the lightest gray that you can get your pencil. It might help you when blending, because then you may be able to blend from dark to light. So I'm going to shade my cylinder all light gray. So like our number 2 on the scale. And I'm going to shade it light enough so that if I make a mistake, I can shade over it. All right. So with my light direction coming this way, you can use your pencil and you're going to notice the angle. So the angle is going to come diagonal. So with the light coming this way, I know that this side's going to be shaded. So I'm going to start here on the right side, and I'm going to start blending dark. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can go straight down, and I'm using the side of my pencil. And if you notice, I'm going in a circular motion. I'm not doing this. I'm going in circles that are overlapping. That way, if I accidentally make a line, it's easier to cover up. So you can either go this way and start blending. You can put that dark area here, and you can go all the way down. Now, usually what happens when people start shading this way is they accidentally put a deep line in. So I'm going to show you what to do to fade that out. So I'm going to go all the way down. Because I want the darkest area on this side. And if you want the edge really dark, then you go back in with your overlapping circles. All right, so I've got my darkest edge. And you can turn your paper whichever way is comfortable. And don't worry if you accidentally shade outside the line, we'll clean it up at the end. Okay, but I don't want this line going through here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow the curve of my cylinder. And I'm gonna start blending outward. And I wanna try to keep it even. So I know my middle, this is gonna be the lightest. My middle is gonna be like a 3 to a 5 range. And then over here is gonna be an 8 to a 9. And I'm gonna blend that line out. If I made one, I'm just gonna blend it out and then follow my curve and get lighter. So we're gonna make it from a 3 to a 2. And we're just gonna keep doing this step. So you wanna kinda have a curved motion. It's not flat. You want it to be curved all the way around. So think about a Coca-Cola can. And if your pencil starts getting dull, see mine was flat, you just turn it over. Okay, so I've got that blended. All right, and I'm gonna come back over here. I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna blend and follow my curve. And I'm gonna blend out. And I'm gonna make sure that my light area is all the same. I'm gonna blend it out. All right, so if I feel like I need to go back darker, you just go darker. If I accidentally made a line, you just start blending that line out. Okay, so I'm gonna do all right, so there's my beginning, and I'm just gonna rotate these circles. So I'm gonna keep overlapping. Okay, so I've got some shading going on, and I can make the circles big and then blend back over here. So we see we've got this middle we've got to work with. We've got this dark area. So I'm gonna start following the curve again and start blending that out. So blend this line. Okay, so I want to smooth out this area in the middle. So I'm going to rotate my pencil. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of flat on one side. So I'm going to rotate it and use the side that's not flat. I'm going to start blending out these lines I've created. All right. So I've blended all this right here. I need to go back and blend this, because I don't want that line in. So that's one of the hardest things to do when you're shading, is to learn how to blend that line out. So I'm going to slow down a little. Continue. All right. Okay. We've got a nice even. You can take your finger or a Kleenex if you want and just kind of blend that. If you think your edge needs to be a little bit darker and you want it as black as you can get it with your pencil, you can go back and do those overlapping circles. Okay, so now I've got a nice even blend from dark to light. This is where you can go and kind of clean up your edge if you would like. All right. Kind of rig this up at home. So I'm doing the best I can. Okay, now we're going to do a cast shadow. So remember, our light's coming down here. It's almost directly on top. It's blocked by the cylinder over here. So our shadow is going to come kind of like this. So right there. And remember, we don't want that edge. So what I'm going to do, you don't want this real harsh edge and a cast shadow. You're just going to take your pencil and lightly shade that number 2. So shade it out. All right. Then up against is where it's going to be your darkest. So I'm going to go in small overlapping circles right up next to my cylinder. And then I'm going to overlap again. And I'm going to start fading this out. So this is just a process in learning blending. And we're taking this shape and making it look like a form now. All right. Now if you want to continue to blend this lighter out here, you can just go over it. And if it appears you put like a line in, again, you just lightly shade over it, and you want this back here to be your darkest. All right. So here is how you draw and shade a cylinder.